Welcome back to another episode of Public Land Savages podcasts. Thanks for tuning in. We are here to do an archery recap. Whitetail archery hunting here in Western New York and middle of Pennsylvania, I guess.
Central PA, Northwestern PA, yeah.
Central. So
Blanchard's Northwestern.
it's true. So we've got a lot to talk about, different things that we saw while we were out in the woods during this peak time. And maybe a few people striking out. Crossbow Ken couldn't join us tonight, but he'll be tuned in next time. And we've got some great success. Justin had some great success out there, so I'm going to share that with everybody as well. So might as well kick it right off with that piece. You guys want to go right to the success first, or should we save the best for last?
I'll save it for a little bit later. I still want to talk about October this year. I mean, this is the best October I had ever. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I don't allocate much time off for October. I'm still hunting October, but it's evenings, weekends. I don't allocate weeks off or multiple days off for October till the end of October. But this year, October was the most activity and the most excitement I've seen in the woods all year, hands down. I mean, both weeks in November were piss poor compared to late October. Last week, October, the first cold snap hit here. It hit kind of all of our areas, but it just turned it on. I mean, nonstop chasing, a lot of pre-rut activity. It's the best time to be in the woods. I mean, it wasn't just small bucks up and chasing. I saw a lot of decent quality bucks, basket eights, but I saw some other nicer bucks, borderline shooters, and then small bucks chasing them.
Right.
They're chasing the does, and small bucks falling after them. A lot more vocal the end of October, last week October. I didn't see any chasing activity in November at all, and we hunted 7-8 solid days in November. Andrew,
Right.
you hunted more.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I didn't see any real chasing activity in November. I mean, I saw movement morning and evening, but nothing like I did the last week October. It's just
Go ahead.
I was just saying, definitely kicked up earlier this year than typical years.
Yeah. I mean, usually Harvest Moon and stuff, but it was before. It was all before.
I saw one buck chase a doe the end of the first week of November across the road in front of me, but that was it. Other than that, it was just locked down dead time.
Yeah. I mean, I saw him in the woods, not chasing, and
hit him. Had some grill meat.
Hey,
what's that?
Don't make fun of that. My boss picked up a roadkill last week and threw it in his freezer after he already tagged 2 other deer.
Oh, I've got plenty of guys that they pick them up on the way to work, throw them in their truck.
That's it.
Oh, it's still good.
I mean, if you hit him in the head, I can understand, but if that thing
but
is mangled,
if you don't even see it,
right?
Yeah, it's just been laying there for who knows how long.
Well, what was it last year? One ran into my truck wheel, broke its own neck, ran full tilt, and I had to drop the kids off. So I dropped them off, come back. The people that owned the house that died in under their apple tree, they're out there and they're trying to give me the deer. Like, you want it? And I was like, no, I don't want to mess with it. The guy down the road, he's coming to get it. I was like, well, it should be good. It hit his head, so it broke his neck. So, but the meat should be good. But I mean, it's such a silly law. I know Pennsylvania has. You're supposed to call and get a tag or permit for roadkill. This is the middle of the night. Like, nobody's open, so you're supposed to let it spoil till the morning. Call and get a tag, because theoretically, whoever picked that up could have been fine, and otherwise just let it waste. That's silly.
One thing that's kind of cool up here is the game commission will pick up roadkill and take them up to the Kinzu Dam in like January when the ice is out, and they'll throw a bunch of them out on the ice to bring the bald eagles in. Do like an observation day with them.
No kidding.
Yeah, they get like 15 eagles.
Like a giant bait pile.
That's awesome.
Yeah, right out in the middle of the lake on the ice. All these eagles come in. It's pretty cool.
Feed the eagle roadkill day. They should just put an ad in the paper. You know how much roadkill they get up there?
Have you gone down there and watched it before?
I went once, like 15 years ago. I mean, I don't know if they still do it, but they used to.
Oh, do they announce it then before they do it?
Yeah, there's a ton of people because they do it. I don't know if you've been there, but it's like that overlook area they have, and you can see them right from the parking lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Past few years, I've seen a lot more bald eagles
A
around.
lot more.
Yeah.
I just saw one the one day when I was switching between the two properties that we hunt. It was
Yeah.
one of the back roads in between there, right before I got to Ellington. It was actually down on the road. There was another bird down there too, eating roadkill. I was kind
Yeah.
of surprised that they were both there. And then when I came along, it was literally right in the middle of the road and it tried to pick it up and take it. It was big.
I tell you, I just thought of another good point this year is something I was watching as well is they talk about being mobile and stuff. And this year, not because of our own choosing, but because of time constraints that we had with Colorado, we were moving a lot of stands and trimming into the season. And
Lame.
we had a lot of anxiety about it. And honestly, where I shot my buck, I trimmed that tree. Like I scaled a pine tree just to trim branches the day before. Like the evening before the morning I shot that deer, I was out there with a pole saw trimming branches, climbing, cracking stuff.
Mhm.
Yes, I wasn't being quiet. I was trying to be as quiet as I could. I didn't have a chainsaw, but I'm out there with a pole saw and I'm climbing tree, with thin branches like this. I'm snapping and cracking branches, but just so I could cut enough of this pine tree away to, you could see it in the video footage, but it's if I didn't do that, I had zero shot. I mean, I had a 10-foot window
Yeah.
to shoot that, and if I didn't cut that the day before, I would have just had to watch him.
Right.
Because
That's wild.
if he would have came out, he would have been, outside of bow range. Even if he took the same path he did when he passed, that's 100 yards, 110 yards, probably.
That's no trouble for that guy in Colorado.
Yeah,
He shoots
just
100 yards
aim
regularly.
for the
So
sky.
that's right.
Cameron Haynes Jr. That's what he was.
Yeah, we had some fight.
15 feet over the deer's back.
Yeah, I mean, I give it credit to people who do that stuff. I mean, there are some people, but it's a small percentage. Especially out there, it's 0%. I mean, the amount of just branches and the goldenrod out there is so high. The thickets. That's just this deer was covered in ticks from head to toe. I've never seen so many ticks on. He was just laying in thickets all day. That's why. He disappeared on us for over a week. We didn't see him. Neighbors didn't see him. Everybody's keeping an eye out for him. And he just gone for over a week. And then bam, just walked out on me, right before 9 a.m.
Well, since we're talking about him, I don't mean to bring up the video of
Yeah,
sticking him.
You see when the camera pans it, you can see right where I trimmed this right on the left side there. Yeah, all that right where I shot is all just the branches that I trimmed. But it's very hard to see, but there's just two shot windows.
There he goes.
Yeah, there he goes. Yeah, if you just pause it and run it back to the beginning, you can kind of see him walk through the opening. Unfortunately, he came stomping in to my right here.
Yeah, he's right behind that tree there as the video starts.
Yeah, he comes out.
Right there.
Yeah, he's right there. And I just had enough time to give him a little stop him and shoot. And it honestly wasn't the best quality of shot. I should have cleaned up a little more brush down there. But I tell you what, I took a little from the Colorado playbook and I went fixed broadheads. And I'm honestly pretty damn sure that if I didn't have fixed broadheads, that thing would have penetrated through it. I mean, that was through and through. I went down there, stuck in a log, full blood, and my arrow clearly deflected because I was shooting at him to my left, and it actually penetrated, exited way down to the right, full liver laceration, like nothing above the diaphragm, no damage. I'm holding perfect on, and you could just see that arrow just kicked a hard right. But to add to the story, earlier in the season, end of October, different part of that area, I took a shot at a nice wide, thick mainframe 8-point, and I watched it for a little bit, debated whether I wanted to shoot. We knew thought it was a 10-point, ended up being 11-point, little sticker, but um, we knew he was in the area, but we weren't seeing him. This buck walked out, he gave me like a 12-yard shot. I watched him for a little bit, watched him make a scrape, trying to debate whether I wanted to shoot. He was real spastic, full chase mode. He had another small buck behind him, grunting up a storm. He's just stomping all over the place. And when I went to squeeze off, he jerked his head back to just itch his body, his antlers. I took a deflection and buried. All I saw was the arrow buried to the fleshings, but at a steep angle towards his ass. Liver blood, but of course, right before dark, had to back off, and then it poured that night. Lost all blood trail. We looked all over for that, couldn't find any sign. I mean, even the blood in the pines and everything gone. So, I mean, there's a lesson there. I was bummed out. I was stupid. It should have been a chip shot, 12 yards, right in front. You couldn't even write it any better. Of course, I forgot my GoPro.
I was going to say, it's convenient the shitty shot doesn't get on camera.
Well, I wish it would have, because so much better footage, because he's 12 yards in front of me. I watched him come in. He made a scrape, in an area to my right. I can't shoot. Doug's real familiar with the stand, but you can't shoot to your immediate right. So I just watched him make a scrape, heard the other buck behind him. I even at one point got my phone out because I was going to just shoot a pre-video. And then, like I said, he was so spastic, so ruddy. He was just everywhere. Like, he would just be making a scrape. I'm like, oh, I got time. I'll pull my phone out. Then he'd head jerk up. He'd hear something. He'd take a few more steps, and then stop. And then go, and then stop. And when he started coming in front of me, he took a full run. And I mean, even when I stopped, he didn't pay much attention. He's just so spastic. Well, like a little bit like this, did that little itch. I could see as soon as I squeezed off that thing. I didn't see my arrow deflect, but I saw it stuck in him. I'm shooting way left uphill. And I see the arrow just go into the right, and I just see fletching sideways. I was like, oh, God. It hurt the thwap, but your heart just sinks, because I walked 20 yards, just blood, dark blood, not a real great trail, but enough to follow without snow. But I had to back out. I was like, I can't keep bumping them all over God's creation. And then, huge rainstorm comes in, 3 of us going in the morning, but it's just, we didn't know which way it went, Just a bummer, but you just keep at it,
Same thing happened to me 3 years ago with the monster buck. It was like 12 yards broadside, smoked them. Went into a clear cut, spraying blood, both sides, heavy, dark red blood for 100 yards, just shooting 3-4 feet out each side. He pops out the other side of the clear cut and completely stopped bleeding. I looked, we had dogs in there looking for him. I took 2 days off work and like grid searched for him. I could not find that thing.
Yeah, I've seen that in gun where, Doug, you remember we did that one year in muzzleloader. Blood just sprayed, but then all of a sudden you start seeing stringing cloths across the snow. Stringing cloths, and then boom, nada. I mean, and that's with, a gun. That might have been muzzleloader, but that's inline. I mean, them things are beasts. They're not your flintlock muzzleloaders. Them things are killers.
It's amazing how resilient those deer can be.
They are. I mean, you see the videos with like arrows sticking out of them, and I mean, I'm 99.9% sure that deer's dead somewhere. I mean, he never showed up again on anybody's camera. Full arrow penetration. It just took such a hard right. I just think it was a non-fatal, liver hit. It wasn't gut blood 100%. I mean, it was deep red. And then I liver shot the 11-point. But I mean, I think with the fixed broadheads, you don't lose that energy with the expansion. So when it went through with a more powerful slice and then exited. So, you got blood spray, you got double wounds. Instead of just hitting something, turning on bone, you might get a little bit of blood from the entrance wound, but you got to know that exit. You don't have that initial tear. I've always shot mechanicals in whitetail, but just the energy loss you read, when you see all these articles about the Western guys, that fixed or nothing.
Right.
And they're right, because you lose so much energy with the expansion. The problem is getting those far off shots accurately
Not going to fly
and
as
fixed.
accurate.
Yeah. Now you can do a two blade, and that's what a lot of the pro guys do. They do the two blade and they shoot these 90 yards, 100-yard shots on a regular. I mean, that's awesome that they could do that. I don't have
Oh
the
yeah.
time and ability as of now. You need facility for that.
Andrew, do you have the pictures of that buck from the trail cam that you can pull up, or do you not have those?
Yeah, give me just a quick second. I'll get that here.
Yeah,
You
I'll
guys.
see him alive.
Just to show what that guy looked like. Yeah, when he was running.
Yeah, alive. I mean, we got some really good.
That is,
That's the only photographs that were full daytime. The only other photographs we had were 10 minutes before dark, always dusk. That's the only other pictures we have.
yeah.
That's the only time in months of cameras
There you go.
that, yeah. I
There it
mean,
is.
just,
You can see we've got
you got a double
double tree stand right there in the background.
You guys sit there together, shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
You got that for popping kids out.
That's the snack stand.
That's for those cold mornings where you want to huddle.
Yeah. Gotta keep your hands warm. But I mean, it's funny because then we have that 7.9 camera up there I showed you guys, and I mean, thicker body, just immature horns. It's wild how they develop, because that deer obviously a lot more mature antler growth, but just the body size. I mean, at 7 he's still living, hopefully. He stays up there, stays in that area, he should be good to go, but he's going to be a big boy in the next few years.
Just another thing I thought of with looking at that picture. That picture of that buck was that Halloween night or the night after Halloween? Yeah. So, which just goes back to earlier in our conversation tonight, that the rut started up early this year, because that kind of shows it. That's the only time that we had him in the daylight.
Ever.
And that's exactly what day it was. So
yeah,
the timing on that camera was off, so you can't go by the picture that was on there.
Yeah, but that's the only full daylight. That's the only full daylight, and that's a dark, quick area. Pines right there. That's definitely a full daylight picture, and the only one that we have. And I mean, I caught him just for 9 a.m., but he's just going thick as a ticket. I mean,
right.
2 steps from where I shot him. You saw in the video, he probably wouldn't have turned out into the goldenrod. He probably would have just stayed in that thicket, because they're just trail systems. Yeah.
Cruising those doe bedding areas.
Yeah. And I mean, I had a doe come out about an hour earlier on my left side, and, nice mature doe, solo, a little bit of running. I heard her crashing coming in, but nothing behind her, and totally opposite sides. He come from my back right, she come from my front left, and she went up. He come this way, and he didn't even make it that far. It's an hour different. No chase there, but he looked like he was seeking. They look like they're on a mission when they're moving. But to be daylight like that, and what was that? That was 12th? When was that? Was it Tuesday?
It was the 14th.
14th. Okay. Yeah, I have to look back. Yeah, it was a Tuesday, because I took off, went back to Pennsylvania after that.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the next morning. I had a little 6-point cruising, but that's it. It warmed up, died completely off. Nothing that night. I mean, it's just we got a little.
The next 2 days after that, there was
we got a little peak those 2 days, because I mean, we were hunting 4 days prior to that,
right?
Seeing nothing. Does. I mean, we were getting a lot on your camera there briefly, but all does and small bucks. No chasing, just browsing around. Yeah. They were staying low to cover, because I put your camera in a nice travel cover route. It's just a little opening. They go across old trail, and then just more cover. and that's where they were sticking. They weren't popping in the openings anywhere. That's like I said, other property we looked at on there. It's just we put stands and opens areas and just made a mistake because they're hugging thickets.
Right.
You just don't have enough time to scout. But lesson learned. I mean, I do the same thing down here in Pennsylvania. I hug, and I started doing that mostly just to get away from people.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, that's you just got to go to the nasty spots they don't want to go. I mean, they're around me, but I'm talking like on top of me. I had a guy earlier this year set up 60 yards from me. Then he came over. As he's walking over to me, his phone rings, answers his phone, has a full-on conversation. Then comes over and talks to me, asks me what days I'll be out there because he wants to sit in a climber he just put up 60 yards away from where my hang on is. I was like, I can't really move this quickly. He's like, yeah, I understand. I'm just trying to figure out what days you're not here. I'm like, well, this is lovely. Don't scout on your own. Just find my stand. And
Yep.
yeah, he was facing it. I mean, he just faced my stand. It was ridiculous.
I just wanted to be sitting in there looking at you when you climbed up in the morning.
I know. He asked me every day for the next couple of weeks when I was going to be there. I just picked my stand up and moved it.
I was 3/4 of a mile off the road in this one spot, hugging a clear cut, and I'm set up for a week or so. And I go to leave the one day, look behind me. Guy's got a hang on and a camera 100 yards behind me. Never even knew he was there.
Yeah, well, what's getting me here in central Pennsylvania is those e-bikes, battery bikes.
Oh, yeah.
These guys, that aren't in shape to be back. Because, that one hang on where I got that freakish high buck on camera just once, but it's over a mile walk out. But there's guys, crossbows out there because they're riding in bikes.
Well, speaking of crossbows, I want to show you guys something here from the Pennsylvania Game Commission's website. These are the sales numbers for licenses. And if you go up here, you'll see overall hunting licenses for residents in the last 10 years have gone down by like 110,000.
Yeah.
But then you go down to archery, and crossbows were introduced in PA in 2009. And every single year, the archery sales go up and up and up and up and up and up.
So they love them.
Wow.
And look at the non-resident numbers. They've doubled in the last 10 years.
Yeah, because they can use cross. Most states, you got to wait.
Yep.
You got designated days for crossbows, or you can't use them, period.
Yeah, you get the full 7 weeks here to use them. I mean, I got nothing against them.
It's just without having a
$2,000.
handicap that makes you necessary, you're just taking the easy way out. And honestly, the appeal of archery is the challenge.
To me.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I think
Right.
to most archery hunters, the guys have been doing it for a long time. It's like,
Yep.
okay, because, I would have been done in October. You know what I mean? Even if he put his antler back there, I would have blew right through it and toasted me. It's just a bolt versus, a compound bow. Regardless of how much you're pulling, there's just no match.
Right.
I mean, I'll be driving home from a day in the woods, and you'll see guys either going in the afternoon or coming out at the same time. And I bet you 90% of them are carrying crossbows as they get in and out of the truck.
Yeah.
And it used
It'd be
to be
interesting to see that data for before 2010.
Oh, yeah.
For that
probably why they don't have it.
What it was before that, before crossbows were even introduced.
Well, they know they're getting mad, and they don't care. They're looking at sales because when we were kids, there was over 1 million hunters in Pennsylvania. That was our claim to fame. Over 1 million hunting licenses were sold a year. Early 2000s, late 90s, there's 1 million hunters in PA, and it just tanked, and that's revenue. Well, when you let that many people go hog wild and you start killing deer left and right, I mean, we've learned this about the areas we hunt. We don't kill those too often.
Right.
Every now and again, we might take one a year between, 3 of us. And we usually can it. That's the only reason why. But if we multi-buck out, we don't need to do that. But you can't. I know everybody wants this doe to buck ratio nonsense, but if you kill all the does all, who's producing deer? You know what I mean? You're such a low number of deer. Even if you do see the bucks, where are they breeding? Because I see less and less doe every year. It's honestly more discouraging because you just don't see anything. You either see even when I saw a buck chasing, it was like one. A lot of times you see him running 3 deer at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You just don't see that.
Yeah, I'm not
I,
against crossbows because they get people in the woods, which I'm all for. But the way PA does it with the 7 full weeks of having them out there, it just makes it harder and harder to get away from people than it used to be like 5 to 8 years
Right.
ago.
well, yeah, and in my opinion, then you add the element of rifle because you add the extra pressure, and then they go nocturnal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like as soon as everybody knows, like a few days before rifle season, everybody's out hanging stands or scouting, cleaning their spot off, whatever. Freaking deer activity just tanks. I mean, all our cameras, almost no deer, maybe one deer a day. Ever since the upstart of rifle season or even bear season, people are prepping. My PA camera's way down. I barely have any pictures now. I was getting daily pictures multiple times a day of deer. Zero now. I
I
might
think
get one in the evening.
I think I told you guys this. I'm hunting a new area this year on a bench on the backside of a valley and up on the ridge top. Over the last 2 weeks, there's been blinds and stands put up. There are 7 of them within 700 yards of each other, right down the ridge line,
Yeah,
all
they're just
watching the
gonna
same
blast.
valley.
Wow.
Yeah, they just want them to come through, and it's just gonna be like shooting fish in a barrel. It's gonna be the Wild West.
Almost makes you
But that's
wonder if they all know each other or if they're just all setting up there anyways. Or
well,
if,
probably the
if
way
they're
it just
setting up on purpose because they know each other and they're going to run a drive through that valley or, I mean,
it's
it's not that they're
the way
not,
the
but they
terrain
don't know each
plays out. People all see the same thing. They see the terrain, go in this valley, and it's kind of a funnel for deer, and they think they're all
other.
just
Right.
gonna run in this valley and like a giant herd of 40, and they're just gonna start clanging and banging, and you might get
Yeah.
2, 3 deer come through there.
Right.
Well, as I said, as soon as the pressure, it doesn't even have to start rifle season. It's like the week before people start hitting the woods, and they feel that pressure. That's why with crossbows, it just puts people out there that wouldn't put the work and discipline into going out there. So now you've increased your numbers, increased the
Yeah.
pressure, changes everything. And also that might be why October's great because everybody's just holding out for November.
Sure.
Oh,
Honestly,
yeah.
in my toolkit, I think October is going to be another a big month for me next year. I mean, I'm going to take more time in October. I'm still going to take some days in November. It
Right.
can be magical sometimes, but I am going to hunt more October.
Another big thing I think is pushing more people into the same areas we're typically in. And I'm a hypocrite for saying it because we all use it, is like Onyx and YouTube. Everyone's looking at the same terrain features on the map that you used to
Yeah.
have to hike into
Right.
to find. And
You look at
everyone's
saddles and
saddles,
benches.
benches, yeah.
Yep.
Spurs off ridge tops. Everyone's looking for the same stuff and knows where to go now. So everywhere you think is isolated, there's guys
Yeah.
already in there.
Yeah, it's common knowledge they cruise benches. I mean, to
Mhm.
pick up scent, and it's great in the morning because the thermals push up, but they're still cruising benches. So, you get low risk of being blown out and, or smelled and, high risk of seeing deer. So I think Pennsylvania would be better off, in my opinion, is going late season inline. You get snow because we don't even have snow for rifle anymore, barely.
Mm-mm.
But if after Christmas you allow people to use inlines, you're going to have snow. Archery's had their turn, first rifles had their turn, but a lot of deer get away because there's no snow. Like right now, when I went to the butcher's on Saturday in New York's opening day gun, it's the lowest number he's ever had, but it was sunny and 45. They're hard to see and they're not moving during the day. Pressure's on, temps up, winds from the south, southeast. Like all these things are against you. So I think if they let late season go, you got tracking snow. You got all the advantages of our traditional rifle season back in the day when it always was snow. See the deer better, you track the deer better, higher success rates, and just give an inline because flintlocks are awful. I mean, they're kind of fun to mess around with, but they're inaccurate,
They're heavy.
high rate of fail. Like one drop of water in the wrong spot, you're screwed. Like I've heard it, that plunk, you get a drop of water down the barrel and you can't light that powder with a lighter. So,
You wouldn't compare compound bows and crossbows to flintlock and inlines?
yeah, that's a good question. I mean, you get
You stumped them.
Still get one
Right?
shot. I mean, you definitely have a higher success rate going off. They are way more accurate. You can shoot further with them. So yeah, I
Right.
mean, it is the same concept. What I'm talking about is you getting people out of the rut, so the deer can mate. You're keeping the pressure down for archery season. The hardcore dedicated guys putting work in, and then you have rifle, which rifle's pretty much a joke anyways. People just hunt the
Right.
weekends, and I couldn't tell you last time I had a good rifle season. Even when you see deer, it's just high speed brown. Like at least if there's snow, you could pick one out. And, you got a quality
Right.
shot, even at a trot or whatever. But it would put more people out late season. Nobody's hunting muzzleloader. I go out in late archery muzzleloader. Sometimes just poke around. It's desolate. I mean, there's no footprints out there in the snow. If you run into a guy, you're actually anxious to see somebody to talk to. Like, holy crap, some other dumbass is out here. But the deer
Like former
resume back.
life.
They resume back to normal patterns. I mean, I shot a real nice buck in Ohio chasing on January 4th. It was probably in, I don't know, 2017, 2018, something like that. But January 5th, I'll never forget it, with an inline muzzleloader. Doe came in, him full grunt and full chase. I was on the ground, double lung. I was hiding under a down tree, had a perfect setup. Just waited for a doe to go by, him come by, took my opening, squeezed off, boom, boom, done. And it was great. And out there, you could turn around and shoot a doe. I think that was even a 3 doe area in Ohio, which is insane to me. But, muzzleloader can be fun. There's a lot less people in there. You can get more people in the woods at a more, I don't know, easy little huntable season, because you got these guys across not putting any work in. They're just throwing a stand up. Getting into here, we got the e-bike problem. So I can't even out hike these guys because they got trailers for their bikes. I see these guys taking stands out on trailers on their bike. I mean, I'm glad it gives them the opportunity, but it's just more of a hurdle.
Frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah, because you've been doing it this way, and you're putting work in, and cameras out, and you're checking areas, you're looking for rubs and scrapes, and this guy just rides his bike a mile out. He picks an end of a clear cut or something, and you always look at clear cuts. Because around here, if you find an edge of a clear cut, you're going to find a stand, no matter how far out it is. But I mean, I see nothing but bike tracks, and it's just, yeah, it is frustrating. I mean, they might not be physically able to do it without the bike. It's nice the bike gives them that opportunity, but it's just, I'd rather see more people in the woods and late muzzleloader, give them an inline, and then you get more high quality hits, more down deer, visibility's better. It's just my 2 cents on the matter, and give us archery back. I mean, it's a selfish ass because I would archery back for compound bow guys, and it actually, I think the quality of the deer stay better because guys who put that much work in with compound bows, and we're not out there trying to shoot these scrubby little bucks, even if they are legal. A lot of guys will still shoot basket eights and stuff like that, but most guys out there are looking for a certain buck. And if you don't get it, we're going on rifle. I'll go on late season. You still got opportunity, so you don't have to just squeeze off on the first legal 8. You see that's like inside his ears, 10-inch spread or whatever. It's just so many of those are down every year. And they would just be beautiful bucks in a year or two.
Well, let's hope those changes are on the horizon.
Yeah, I think it's more about money than anything, unfortunately. But
yeah, money makes every decision.
Yeah, so as long as those numbers keep going up, they don't care who complains.
That's exactly what they would attribute it to as well, with the numbers going down on hunters overall, but the increase in archery.
Yeah, they'll celebrate
on the back and
Mhm.
say, "Hey,
Yeah, they'll
if we
celebrate.
did this, we got more numbers. If we didn't do that, then we'd be down big time."
But I bet you less than 5%. I'd say I bet you less than 3% hunt late season. So if you turn around and give them an inline, I mean, inline's huge in Ohio. I think it goes till February. I'd have to double check that, but it goes a long time. New York just expanded theirs to what it opens next week. When's it open? No, it's not for another couple weeks, but it opens consecutively right after rifle.
Right.
And then it closes down but then it reopens this year after Christmas, I noticed. So they
Yeah,
extended it another couple weeks.
this is what, the third year for that.
Is it? I just noticed it this year, of course, but we've always inline hunt. That's kind of our doe season if we get that far, but it's cool. I love being in the woods. Hardly anybody's there. Snow's down. You can see their new travel patterns. You can see where most of the tracks are. You can see a lot of the new activity. Where this time of year, as soon as they shift into that rifle mode, the patterns change. And you can't tell. You know what I mean? There's not enough new sign. They're not out making scrapes anymore. They're not really rubbing much anymore. So you just see tracks. Tracks are everywhere. Without snow, you have no clue.
Well, it just to put a disclaimer out there, but by saying that we typically do doe season and muzzleloader season, just want to let the viewers know that we do make sure that they aren't with child when we take them out in muzzleloader season.
Oh yeah.
There's ways to
do a full
easily
examination.
detect that
You do a full examination.
if they're carrying or not before you shoot them.
You chase them down.
You can tell by the way they smell.
Well, there's the perfect dismount for this episode then there for us. So
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. Archery season was fun. It's challenging like always. I love every second of it. It's frustrating in those small moments of payoffs. They don't come every year. There's disappointment. I had disappointment early, late October, early in the season for me. Big disappointment, frustration, makes you want to quit. And then, I got back on the target buck, stuck with him, sealed the deal. I didn't have any bad juju, so I'm always thankful for that. I can't wait to get the mount back. I'll always do Europeans. I'm a European guy, but
it's a lot cheaper.
I've never been a shoulder mount guy. The only thing I got full mount is that dang coyote. But, it's nice. I'm excited for rifle. Honestly, it'll be a little more relaxed. I hope to see some nice bucks in rifle and see how patterns change and how everybody else finishes it out.
Yep, we'll be back soon.
Yep, thanks for joining us.
It's always more relaxing gun season when you got a nice buck in archery.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
That's what I said for me. I'm looking forward to it. I don't have to stay full. I get 2 gold. Screw this.
That's right.
I'm going to get a sandwich.
Yep.
All right. Thanks everybody.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.